2026 has just begun, and as we know, people like to make new goals, create new habits, things that they've always wanted to try at the beginning of a new year. Now, I think you can do that at any point in the year, but the new year gives you a good fresh slate to try and do some of these goals or habits that you've been trying to commit to. And as we kind of know, most of these resolutions tend to fail within 1 month, really, and a lot of people don't even make it to the full year, where I think it's like something like 10% of people who set a resolution actually stick to that goal. So I wanted to share some of my experiences with committing goals and a new habit and how you can succeed at that at any time, not just at the beginning of a year, but throughout any point in the year. And I think there's three main things that create a good goal or habit. And I think the first thing is that it has to be something that you want to do. If you're doing something because your parents told you to do it, a friend told you to do it, or some random guy or girl on TikTok are telling you to do it, you're not going to stay committed to it. This has to be something that you have wanted to do or that you want to do. And that's the first step in creating a good goal or habit. Now, the second thing that I think is really important is it has to be achievable and it has to be realistic. This needs to be something that's actually possible, something that you can do, right? So let's say you opened up a Roth IRA and you want to commit the full, I think it's $7,500 now, to your Roth IRA. That's a great goal. It's a great thing that a lot of people probably strive for, but maybe you don't make enough money to commit that much money from your budget. You know, you have to buy groceries or you have to pay for rent. So that's just not something that's realistic, and it's going to make you feel like you're failing your goal. So it needs to be something that's achievable and something that's realistic. Now, I think the third thing it needs to be is flexible. When you set a goal, you have to allow for flexibility. If you make a rigid goal, like let's just say I want to go to the gym every day of the year or every day of the week. First off, not a good goal because you're not going to be able to do it, but it's not flexible, right? Life comes up, things get in the way, family, friends, and you're just going to run out of time in your day to do everything. A way you could change that to be flexible is you go to the gym 3 times a week, right? And you allow yourself that flexibility to go whenever you want to go. Now, when doing this, maybe you'll find that you like to go on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays or whatever. And that routine will kind of find itself, but you need to start off being flexible. And this is the fourth thing that I think is really important with goals. It's definitely not necessary as the other three, but something that I really like to do is is make it trackable or measurable, have a measurable goal. And I think that's really important when you're trying to assess your progress or look back at how you're doing and make adjustments. And I myself personally really enjoy tracking things and collecting data or stats. Like I said before, it makes your goal measurable. That way you can assess your progress or how good or bad you're doing, and you can kind of alter your goal from there or really show yourself that you're achieving something. Now, there are some downsides to this, like having to set up a format to track your data. People usually use like spreadsheets or like physically writing down your data. I like to use a little bit of both. But you have to be committed to logging or tracking that habit every time that you do it, which can feel like a chore and it can make your habit or goal feel like it's wasting more time and energy than you want to be putting into it. And that's really bad because that's something that's going to take away from your goal and make you less successful if you find that tracking it is a chore, right? You're not going to want to do that. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. And so now I kind of want to talk about an example from my life. I made a commitment back in the end of 2023. So this was my goal for 2024, was to begin reading. I'm someone who never read before. Even in like school, I wouldn't even read the books. I would just like look up Spark Notes or whatever. I wouldn't even read them. I guess now you could just ask AI to do it, but back then it was a little bit harder. So I really wanted to start reading in 2024, and the goal I had initially was to read 10 pages daily. And so what I did to track this was I would log in a journal every day when I read, what I was reading, the book, and how many pages I read. So then at the end of each month, I would count up all the pages, which I really found to be one of my least favorite parts, because then I would have to tally up all of my monthly reading, which could be as much as like 31 logs, which was really annoying sometimes, but it made the end of the year a lot easier because then I would only have to count 12 logs or 12 points of data, I guess, instead of 365, which would be insane. So that was my goal initially, was to go from 0 pages to 10 pages. I thought that was doable. To me, that didn't seem hard at first, and it was measurable as well. And it's also something I wanted to do for me. Nobody told me to start reading. I just wanted to do it. And I learned a lot from this experience because it wasn't initially a flexible goal, right? 10 pages a day. It didn't allow me to not read 10 pages a day because my goal was to read 10 pages a day. So ultimately, because I was tracking this, noticing that there were some days where I just couldn't read. It just wasn't possible with my schedule. So I actually changed the goal to average 10 pages per day by the end of the year. And that's a little bit more flexible because then maybe one day I don't read, maybe one day I catch up my reading. And it really taught me that goals need to be flexible. Now, at the end of the year, I averaged out all my pages and it was actually 10.7 pages per day. So I had hit my goal. And what I learned from that was initially it was pretty hard to just start reading 10 pages a day, harder than I thought, because in January I only actually read 100 pages. And then by February I read 193, and then slowly each month I went up till eventually hitting my goal. So tracking was something that allowed me to have that data and make adjustments and see where I was at, and kind of show me that even something as simple as starting with 10 pages a day was very hard initially and something that you had to build up to. Fast forward to now, the end of 2025, going into 2026, I ended up upping my page goal for the year of 2025 to 20 pages a day. That's another way that you can kind of look back at your stats, look back at your goal, and make changes for the next year. At this point, I've established that habit. I have the routine. I read. I've read quite a few books at this point. Now I will tell you, after the end of the year, it's not looking good. I haven't tallied up all my pages yet, but it doesn't look like I'm going to hit that goal, which again is okay. At this point, I've kind of created that habit, so I do read about 20 pages per day, or at least try to. And I'm just going to continue that goal into this year, 2026. I'm going to try to achieve that goal again, or hit that goal for the first time, I guess. So it's okay at this point to make changes or to retry to hit your goal if you missed it. But I wouldn't be able to be at this point if I wasn't doing what I've been doing goal-wise. That is, making something that I wanted to do, having it being achievable and realistic, and giving it flexibility. But just to kind of wrap it all up, the ultimate recipe to your own success is going to be finding something that you want to do or do more, turn it into a measurable goal, and then track it. And then the most important step, just do it. Whether you fail, whether you do it badly, or you do it great, you can make those adjustments and you can assess your own progress. Now, another key factor that I haven't mentioned yet is you don't want to burn yourself out immediately, right? If you look back at what I was doing, when I first started reading, I only did 100 pages in January, and that didn't deter me just because I only did 3.2 pages per day that month. It kind of allowed me to ease into the goal and not burn out immediately. So I think that's also a very important part about creating habits, is to start slow, build the habit, and then start trying to hit your goal or whatever you've set for yourself. So I hope you can take some of the things I've said, apply it to your own life, whether it's the beginning of a year, the middle, the end. It doesn't matter what time it is. As long as you want to start doing something, you can do it. So just go out there, make your goal, track it, and just make progress towards that goal. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Let me know in the comments what you're trying to start this year or what you've already started and are succeeding at. I'd love to hear what you guys are trying to start or do this year.